Hey guys, this is going to be a review of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 14, Such Sweet Sorrow Part 2, which is the season finale, so I've finally reached the end of Season 2. At the beginning of this episode, they're in the midst of fighting Leland/Control, and there's a lot of action in these scenes, and I really had a moment while watching the episode where I just realized how much money had to go into making Discovery. Before Michael goes out in the suit, Spock tells her that he's going to guide her there in a shuttle, and then he will return to Discovery right before she opens the wormhole. And at this point, because even though Spock has said that he's going with them to the future, we know that that can't be the case because we know that Spock will continue to exist in that time. So that was the point where I was like, okay, I feel like this is connected to why he's not actually going to end up in the future. The Klingons and Sarana come to help, and we find out that Ash got them, and L'Rell is very clear that the Klingons are helping to save themselves, not help anyone else, but it's still really nice to see everyone working together and helping each other. And Michael also realizes that she needs to set the signals herself so that all of these people can come and help Discovery later / at that time. Stamets is still injured, and Culber ends up treating him, and he tells Stamets that Stamets is his home, he doesn't want to leave him, he's going to stay with him. It's a very powerful scene. It might be my favorite scene in this episode. Michael jumps and sets all of the signals. We get glimpses of things that have happened while she's doing that. It really kind of serves as a summary of the season, which was an interesting way to do that, I think. Cornwell ends up sacrificing herself to save the rest of the Enterprise, and it's very emotional, and Pike offers to do it himself, but Cornwell says something about how they both know that's not where his story ends, which obviously we do know because of what happens canonically after this, but it felt a little meta when she said that. Sure enough, Spock's shuttle has a problem. He can't go back to Discovery, so he ends up telling Michael that he's not going to the future, which, again, I knew was coming, so it wasn't a huge shock, but it's still sad to see it played out. I really like Spock and Michael's relationship. I like it more than I expected I would, which I think I mentioned before. Even though I really like Michael and Ash's relationship as well, and really love how it's portrayed, I feel like Spock and Michael's relationship outshined it this season. Not that it's a competition, and they're two very different relationships and can't be compared in some ways, but I just really loved that this season. I'm sad that she has to leave both Spock and Ash behind in the past. Honestly, what surprised me most is that Georgiou does end up going to the future with them, which I didn't really expect to happen. I don't know why. Because we know she's getting her own spin-off, and I just kind of assumed that the spin-off would take place at the time that Discovery was originally set at. She goes to the future with them, so now I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the spin-off. But I'm excited because she's my favorite character, and I really appreciate having her on the show for longer. I just wasn't expecting it to happen. But considering we have to leave Spock and Ash and some other characters, I am thankful that at least we still get Georgiou. We see everyone who is left behind getting questioned, and they all make excuses about Discovery having exploded and things instead of telling the truth, which helps explain why none of this is ever mentioned in the rest of canon, so it makes sense that it would happen, but it's also a little sad. Ash also gets a promotion in Section 31, and honestly, I want a whole show about that. We are getting a Pike series that takes place on Enterprise, I believe, and the very end of this episode honestly feels like a teaser for that show, because we see the Enterprise, Spock shaves his beard and everything, and we don't see Discovery after it jumped to the future in this episode. So it really feels like it's building up the Pike series, which I don't hate. Rewatching this did make me really excited to finally watch season 3. So I'm very glad that season 3 is already out and I can watch the entire thing. Hopefully I will get to that soon. But I will see you guys later. Bye.